I'm Jessica Bowman.
And I'm Matt Breen. A suspected scam artist with contacts right here in the United States nearly took a Yankton, South Dakota woman's money, furniture, and dignity. But a quick-thinking furniture salesman stopped that scam in its tracks.
KTV's Matt Hoffman is digging deeper, investigating how a con artist targeted a 71-year-old woman with dementia and what stopped the alleged plot. So, Matt, how far did this scam really go?
Yeah, they went deep enough to find out that the woman had dementia, that she lived in Yankton, and because she didn't have a car, the scammers needed to actually call a taxi to take her to the bank and other stores. And the primary scammer, who called himself David, even paid her phone bill one time because he knew he needed to keep her phone on to keep the scam going. To the scammer, it was likely a return on investment. Barbara Stoliger raced from her home in Norfolk, Nebraska to Yankton, South Dakota. She'd just gotten word her estranged sister, Sharon Biscardi, had been involved in a scam. But Stoliger had no idea just how much money her sister had lost.
I would guess easily $10,000, but I don't know how long this has been going on.
The scam was stopped by an unlikely hero. Another dig, but this one a furniture salesman in Yankton.
The weeds in the yard were overgrown, and it looked like a rundown house from the outside.
David Stebrel says he got a seemingly normal call from the scammer. And when he entered the home, things also seemed normal at first.
Walk through numbers with her, she would always say, well, let me call David. Let me call this other person I had not met yet, who was not there present in the conversation.
Stebrel then picked up on Biscardi's mental health issues, and the story got weirder.
He claimed that he worked for Mega Millions, and that was consistent with her story. But almost everything else that she had told me about him didn't match what he told me about himself. So that was a huge red flag.
Now, Stebrel could have easily walked into the home, got quotes for all the different furniture, including this exact table, and sold it. That is his job after all. But he didn't do that. Once he got in contact with the family, they were all able to sit down and figure out just how pervasive this scam was. Stoliger has spent months investigating the scam against her sister, and she's found real people involved here in the U.S. Biscardi sent a check to a woman in Texas. Wells Fargo told Stoliger the woman actually walked into the bank to deposit the check. Another scrap of paper in Biscardi's home referenced a name and address of a man in Wisconsin. A search of public records shows the man does live at the address the scammers wanted the check sent to. And finally, Biscardi sent a money order to a woman in Colorado. And now, the South Dakota Attorney General's office has asked police in Colorado to interview that woman. Perhaps most shockingly, Stoliger called a number for the scammer a few weeks ago. And to her surprise, David answered.
He picked up the phone and said, "Sharon?" And I said, "No." And he said, "This must be her sister." And I said, "Yes, it is. It is."
Stoliger provided us with emails that show the South Dakota Attorney General's office is investigating the case. For his part in stopping the scam, Stebrel doesn't want any clout. But he does want Siouxlanders to look out for one another.
So, Matt, what was Stoliger's greatest fear if this scam wasn't stopped in its tracks?
Yeah, she thinks it's scary to think about her sister having no furniture, no money. But then there's a more terrifying scenario. She says the scammer, David, told her sister once that once she sold the furniture, he'd move her out to Colorado. And since the scammer does have contacts here in the U.S., she worries about what might have happened to her sister if she was whisked away. And we want to make it clear to our viewers, if something like this happened to you after contacting law enforcement, please email us at diggingdeeper@ktiv.com. Same goes for any other investigative story you might have.
Matt, thanks.